Denise,
Yes.
you said, Oprah said that 2020 is the year of
Well, 2020 is perfect vision.
perfect vision.
Yeah.
Well, here at Church of the Oaks, I declared that 2020 was a year of transformation. I'm going to try to continue that today, maybe a different way around the barn. Last week I spoke of our ability to have spiritual experience, to be able to be in the dimension of the unseen, to have communion with God or Spirit, and how sacred that is, and how we can use that exposure, that communion with the divine to improve our lives, to elevate our consciousness. And I guess we could call it in being able to expand a we consciousness of our total connectedness with all living and things that are. So that's the transformation, is expanding our consciousness, expanding our awareness. I'm going to maybe make you a little uncomfortable again today. Try to get you to step a little beyond where you might be. I think so many times as we demonstrate our awareness and our thoughtfulness, it's kind of based on what makes us feel good, maybe than actual value to the whole. How many of you feel good about the fact that you recycle every week? How many of you recycle? And that lets you feel that you are participating in having awareness and taking part in taking care of our universe. Well, I'm going to test you out a little bit here. That's a pre-sorting thing. And actually, at every disposal center where they collect this debris, this waste, they have sorters. And when we pre-sort to recycle, that kind of helps them out. Actually, it limits the number of jobs that there are there. But the fact is that it takes the same amount of diesel fuel to haul that same amount of volume of stuff to the center where they sort it all out. And then it takes the same amount of diesel fuel to haul it to wherever it's going, the landfill or the recycle place where they actually melt it down or burn it up or whatever they do with it. Recycling is a wonderful gesture, but it doesn't have anything to do with the solution of the problem of messing up this planet with waste. The solution is to curtail, cut back on our consumption. That's the solution. And we're happy to recycle, but we still got to go to the store and get stuff that comes in packages that need to be recycled and need to go somewhere to be waste. We make more waste in this country than any other country in the world. How many of you feel good when you bring something in for cots? Sleeping bag, 2 blankets, and you should. Those items are very much needed. But what's the solution to the problem? Homeless people are disenfranchised. They are ignored by society. And when these organizations like the Red Cross and the Living Room and COTS and countless others, they're doing an amazing job of making sure these people don't freeze to death, making sure they get something to eat. But it's not a real personal interaction. These people are looked at by all of us like the upper classes look at the lower class in India. They won't even make eye contact. And how many times you walk down the street and there's two guys sitting there on the sidewalk back up against, and you can smell them from 40 feet away. You won't even look. They're human beings. If we want to really address that problem, how about we have human interaction with them? Let them know they are a human being, that they're just like you and me. And we don't know what they've been through. And I'm guessing that if every one of us lived through the same experiences in their life, at least 50, maybe 70% of us would be in the same place. We want to solve the problem. We need to let people know that they are people. Make them aware that, yes, somebody is willing to talk to them, to smile at them. That one little, hi, how you doing today? When I have done that, I've never heard, I'm doing crummy, leave me alone. I've always heard just, oh, I'm doing fine, how about you? In their place, they are the most positive, most receptive to talk and conversation. They know where they're at, and they know why. The whole last half of my talk just went out of my head for some reason. When we have awareness and we want to use this divine knowledge, this divinity that we have within us, and the more that we have these spiritual experiences, the more that we commune with Spirit, the more of that we have access to. And the more of it we can share, let it flow through us. The greater effect it has on not only our lives, but the lives of people all around us. I say here that when we're trying to figure out ways how to manifest this destiny, this divinity that we have, that maybe we could find a project. We all have different interests, different passions, different creative directions. But yet, probably none of us is going to start something like the World Health Organization or the Me Too movement. But there are places where our passion is big. So find this project that's going on. There are so many good things going on in this country. You have no idea. You can pick any subject, any direction that your passions might want you to give you enthusiasm to follow. And there are 20 or 30 organizations that have come together and figured out a plan to find a solution to a problem or a challenge that we are facing. And these are people just like you. They're not politicians. They're folks just like you that have these divine gifts within them, this creativity, this compassion, this concern, this wisdom and knowledge. Check them out. Look for them. They're there. And hook yourself up with a project. One of the quotes here talks about collaboration. And when one of us tries to set up the tables for the cabaret, it's a chore. But when you get 3 or 4 or 5, it's 5 minutes. You can accomplish so much more as a team, as a group. For every one of us, this perception or feeling of the divine within us is different. And it motivates us and encourages us and empowers us in an infinite number of ways. So take that and find a group or an organization, and if there by chance isn't one, well, you can start one. You've got the power of the whole universe inside of you. You can start or do whatever you feel moved to do. All this talk that I do week after week, year after year, it's all about becoming more aware of the power of the divine within us. The power of spirit that is not only in us, it's in everything. And what's the use of being aware of it if you don't use it? And we can. And the more we use it, and the more we manifest that power, that compassion, into something else that's greater than us, that's in the consciousness of we, that brings about harmony rather than chaos, that has to do with others instead of just me, our world changes. Our lives change. And you feel better about yourself as a result, not as the intention. It's not a self-esteem class. Self-esteem comes about as behind, in the back door. The being part of other things, the actual compassion, that's what brings about the good in the universe. And the self-esteem comes a little later in ways you never expected. And when you serve and when you work at something that's not about you, that's about others, or about our environment, or about justice, or equality, that self-esteem, that self-fulfillment, you can't imagine how much of it comes in the back door. And you wake up one morning and it's like, wow. And that wasn't the intention. The intention was doing something for someone else, for the good of the whole. How do we manifest the divine within us? Figure it out. Look around. How do you feel about this or about that? What really gets you cooking? What really gets you on fire? That's a good indication of the direction that we ought to take. And it's different for every one of us. But as you do that, I promise you that this world will be a better place. You will be a better person. And the flow of the divine will keep on flowing. And it'll keep getting bigger and bigger. And we can transform not only ourselves, but our environment. We can transform our communities. We can solve the homeless problem. What if we all wrote a letter to our governor? He's a smart guy. I've actually had conversations with him. One time it was quite a bonus. Very smart guy. What if we wrote a letter to him and said, what can we do to force the government of California to solve or find the solution to the homeless problem? Gavin's got ideas about that. He may know of people that are working on that are actually making some difference in the way this state or this country structures its society. And then maybe take his advice. There are solutions to every problem. Wayne Dyer says there's a spiritual solution to every problem. What does that mean? The wisdom of the solution lies in the dimension of the unseen. And every one of us can tap into that. Every one of us can work to bring that solution to reality, to the dimension of the seen, to the dimension of humanness. It's there. Every problem, every challenge, the divine holds the answer, holds the solution. And we have the ability to tap into that whenever we choose. But to do that, we have to stop thinking about me, and think more about we. We want peace. We want justice. We want compassion. Well, then, we should create that. Let's create some peace this morning. Let's stand and sing, "Let there be peace on earth."